Hi, this is Eric Stevens with Truth in Wellness and the Whole Life Challenge. I'm here to speak with you today about the reasons that you shouldn't exercise. Now, that's a little strange coming from a fitness expert whose job it is to tell you the reasons that you should exercise, the wonderful benefits of exercise. And certainly, you and I both know there are many important and valid reasons why you probably should exercise. But there are also a couple reasons why you shouldn't exercise. And the point of today's conversation is exactly that. The most important reason why you shouldn't exercise is that you don't like it. You don't actually like exercise. The second point of why you shouldn't exercise is that you exercise simply as a means to an end. That is, the only reason you exercise is to burn calories or to lose weight or to manipulate your body to look a certain way. I want to talk today about sustainability in exercise, and that's really the whole point of exercise becoming a lifestyle, is getting to a place where you like exercise and that exercise serves a purpose. To point number one, that not liking exercise point, studies show that only about 30% of people actually like traditional exercise. That's problematic for the vast majority of people that don't like going to the gym. Second, as it relates to studies actually show that exercise, while has a wonderful correlation to health-related benefits such as improved sleep or lower blood pressure or lower cholesterol, exercise doesn't necessarily correlate to weight loss. It's an inefficient way to lose weight. So if you think about points number 1 and 2 combined, you think about the analogy of a diet. And a diet typically is a short-term, way to manipulate your body to look a certain way. You eat food you don't necessarily like, or you eat a diet that's not necessarily sustainable in order to lose weight. The problem, of course, being if you're eating something that you don't really like, are you going to stick with that as a diet? Why would we expect it to be any different with exercise? If we embark on an exercise program that we don't really enjoy, doesn't give us genuine satisfaction, why would we end up doing it? There are many things we have to do in life. Most of us have to have a job. Most of us have to pay taxes or go to the dentist or go to the grocery store or clean the house. But we don't have to do anything with our leisure time, our hobbies, our activities that we don't like doing. In fact, it's pretty darn important that you do like doing those things. I would ask you a question. If you can think back to the entirety of your life, have you ever done anything with that leisure time on an ongoing sustainable basis that you didn't enjoy at some level? So you might be thinking, great, those are the reasons I shouldn't exercise. If I don't like it and if I just want to look a certain way or lose weight, then what are the reasons I should exercise? Well, those are pretty straightforward as well. The reasons you should exercise, number one, you like it. And number two, you're exercising to get more proficient, to get better at anything physically speaking, faster, stronger, more athletic, etc. Now, with that in mind, you might be still saying, okay, but I don't like exercise, so how am I going to get to the point where I do like it? And I would say that the way to plan to look forward, instead of planning your next step of starting an exercise program, you're going to plan your step to look forward by looking back at your true, authentic nature. Now, when I say your true, authentic nature, the way you were made, what holds your attention in your authenticity, and the way to do that, again, looking back, I'm talking about looking way back. Your childhood, when you were 3 years old or 5 or 8 or 15. There were things that held your attention that naturally time stood still when you did those activities. I would venture to say that all of us fall into one of three categories, if not in part all three categories, which is all of us when we were children were maybe an athlete of some sort. All of us might have been an artist of some sort, or all of us might have loved the outdoors in some way. Athletes, of course, played Little League Baseball or Pop Warner football or played on the tennis team or on the ski team. Artists were dancers and they would draw and they would paint and they would be in theater, they would sing. And of course, outdoors people would hike and bike and climb up trees and ride down mountains and you name it. All of those have wonderful applications of expressing yourself physically. I describe finding that authentic physicality as finding an anchor activity. So let's take martial arts, which is near and dear to me because that's an anchor activity. That's something that I found that when I do martial arts and I take a class or I, find myself doing some boxing work, time stands still. I'm not just looking to get through it to get to my next activity. I'm wholly, completely present. When you find that, you know that's an anchor activity. It could be being on the golf course, being a downhill skier, you name it. But what happens with an anchor activity is that you circle back to traditional exercise. And I don't know of anybody who's at a high level and super proficient as a martial artist, as a skier, as a golfer, as a basketball player, as a dancer, who doesn't have some semblance of physicality in terms of physical fitness. And when you have that anchor activity and a passion that drives you, exercise is much easier to buy into when you know it feeds that purpose. I encourage you to look at your next chapter, at the next exercise program you embark on, as taking 4, 5, 8 things and things you've been afraid to try, haven't tried since you were a kid, making that list of the things that could potentially be that anchor activity and starting your exercise program in that way versus as the simple means to an end play. Again, it's dieting, which is typically not sustainable for most people. Thank you very much for your time. This is Eric Stevens with Truth in Wellness. Go have a healthy day. Thanks.